Billy in Wimberley, Texas. Billy, you you wanted to go off about the South? Are you suggesting?
I have a huge problem with
this?
you talking about people in the South as being insurgents and that they are still fighting the Civil War. That's a lie, and you know it. What boggles my mind.
So wait a minute. You're telling me that your state's whose governor has talked about secession, or whose former governor has talked about secession on multiple occasions, is not. I mean, it wasn't. What was the Civil War about? Wasn't it about secession?
It was about secession. That's not really the point. You know what Rick Perry said in an off moment, pretty much in a jest. Y'all take and misrepresent and talk about the South wanting to refight the Civil War and reinstitute slavery. That's just a bald-faced lie.
Yeah. Well, you can think so, Billy, but I lived in the South for 15 years, 13 years. I lived in Atlanta for 13. Can you turn my mic up a little bit? Thank you. Billy, I lived in Atlanta for 13 years. I know white people in the South who would very much like the South to go back to the way it was pre-1860. And so do you, I'm sure.
Slavery.
And I'm sure that you know those same people. Yes.
Ridiculous.
Okay, I would submit to you, Billy, that we still have slavery, and it's called prison labor.
Not telling the truth, and with really beautiful, flowery statements about equal rights.
You going to tell the truth about prison labor? About mass incarceration?
What about prison labor?
Is that not slavery? I mean,
don't break the law, you don't go to jail.
Oh yeah. Right.
I think that the minorities that are in jail now.
So you, honest to God, Billy, are you trying to tell me that when African Americans are 8 times more likely to go to prison for smoking pot than white people, even though white people smoke more pot than African Americans, even on a per capita basis, not as a percentage, or either however you calculate it, you're telling me that that's just fine?
We're not talking about pot smokers.
You just said that only people who broke the law go to jail.
And in that mob in Baltimore. Those are the kind of people we're talking about. You don't want to.
No, the kind of people we're talking about are the white racists in the South who still want to be fighting the Civil War. That's where you opened this conversation.
Statement. I thought you were educated. That's just insane for you to say that.
Billy, I'm not personally insulting you, and I think that when you personally insult me, you actually diminish the potency of your argument. Just, if I may respectfully suggest, if you want to debate, keep it to the issues.
Fair enough.
Okay. So what's your evidence? If you look at poverty in the South, if you look at racism in the South, if you look at segregation in the South, if you look at the aggressive efforts by Republicans in the South to prevent people of color from voting and poor people, how can you say that this isn't some echo from the Civil War or from that era? Let's say from the early 18th century or the early 19th century.
Okay, let me answer you. The people in Baltimore are disadvantaged. The people in New York City and in Chicago that are in poverty, because of democratic policies that they've been living off for the last 50 or 100 years. Those people are disadvantaged too. It has nothing to do with the South wanting to rise.
What is the democratic policy, Billy, that causes poverty from white West Virginia to black downtown Baltimore? What is the democratic policy that is causing that poverty?
All the programs that they put into place to destroy the black family and to destroy anybody's incentive to go out and make a living.
Well, it's not just black people, Billy. There's more white people on welfare than there are black people, and there are more white people who are getting federal benefits than there are black people. And the biggest recipients of federal benefits, by the way, are people who have a net worth of over $100 million. They receive the largest share. We spent a total of about 300
black people.
I beg your pardon?
There are more black people in this country killing black people than white people killing black people.
It's more white people killing white people. This is a circular logic day?
Black people killing black
That's
people.
That's because they're in proximity to each other, the same way white people kill white people because they're in proximity to each other. All you're doing is acknowledging that we live in an apartheid state.
That's ridiculous.
Well, you just said it.
In the books, man.
You just pointed it out.
No, that's not. That's a false argument. You're taking a false.
So what you're saying to me
lying.
that black people in Baltimore are going to black neighborhoods in Detroit to kill people because they like to kill black people, whereas this makes no sense, Billy.
Black people kill black people because they feel like they're entitled.
No, people kill people because they're near them, and the majority of people who are killed, by the way, tend to be people who know each other. If you've got domestic violence is one of the most dangerous things in the United States. More people. Oh, okay, Billy. I think we've both had our say here.